What's cracking, peeps? It's Jax. And yes, we're back with Buried. It's been a little while, but I want to get back to this story. We just got to the end of chapter 3, and we killed... That's right, we made the decision. I made the decision to kill Marcus, because I think he was a loose cannon. He was a loose cannon. And we couldn't afford to let him live. Just couldn't do it. Oh god, I've forgotten all the voices. The ride up the elevator is tense. I take a series of deep breaths, doing everything I can to stay in control. Amy has gotten back to her feet, but her head is pressed against the elevator wall as she suppresses a series of sobs. I find myself trying to remember the way those creatures looked, but my mind seems to shudder at the effort. I have seen something that is an impossibility, a mockery of what I know is real. This fills me with a terror that dwarfs anything else I have felt since discovering this facility. I try to focus my mind on something else, and that's when I remember that I've just murdered Marcus. I killed Marcus, I say, the thought of feeling like jumping into cold water. Have you ever killed anyone before? No. He was going to kill me. I'm sure of it. Probably. Well, thank you. But her tone is unsteady and her face is unreadable. I still can't believe I did it. I can't. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine, she says. She then voices. She then looks to me and asks, all of that, it really happened, right? I can only nod because I feel some of her disbelief trying to sneak into me, almost like it's contagious. So, how did you end up in here? She gives a nervous chuckle and shrugs. I used to work with the Pentagon. It was some pretty upper echelon stuff that I still can't discuss. I assume this place is even more upper echelon. This place isn't even on the scale. My other job was a cakewalk compared to this. Then why stay? Because the money is ridiculous. I have a 13-year-old daughter already talking about Harvard. You do the math. Well, I don't. That's kind of. I don't really care about Harvard right now. Any other kids? No, just the one. Her dad split on us when she was 3. I never remarried, so no siblings for her. I may have only gotten one, but the one I got is amazing. Amy pauses before continuing softly. What if I never see? Her voice breaks off. The words too terrible to say, her eyes filled with tears. The elevator comes to a stop, the slight ding of it interrupting the moment. Amy hastily wipes her eyes, and we waste no time in getting back inside the command centre. So we've gone back to, this room. But Dennis is still back down there. Oh man. I ready the rifle, suddenly certain that there are more of those creatures waiting for us in the hallway on the second floor. But the way is clear, allowing us to haul ass to the command centre. Once again I find myself staring at the screen that shows my ruined worksite. Okay, Amy says, typing commands rapidly. It can't be that hard. I keep peeking over my shoulder, my senses feeling as if the monsters are sneaking up on us, mere inches away. I then think of Dennis and wonder how he is faring back on level 3. Is he safe? I look back to the screen to see that Amy has finally found what she was looking for. A prompt on the screen says, override of hangar doors, and all level 3 locks require clearance code. Amy types in a number with shaking fingers, and the screen goes black for a moment. The moment the words override confirm come up on the screen, Amy jumps up from the chair and heads out of the room. We have to be quick. We have exactly 20 minutes to open those hangar doors. What? I thought... Oh wait, I'm thinking of the hydraulic doors. Okay, so the hangar doors is where we need to go to. We need to go to the hangar, don't we? What happens in 20 minutes? Is that going to slow us down if I ask what happens in 20 minutes? Okay, I thought that was an important one there. The locks will kick in again. Security measure. I couldn't do anything about it. I follow her out of the command centre and bound back down the hallway towards the same elevator that brought us here. Amy punches the elevator button and the doors slide open. We're taking this same elevator back to the biochem room. Those creatures are still down there. There are even more in the other direction, remember? Hopefully they've left. Hopefully. Neither of us say anything else as we share a look of immense dread. We step back into the elevator and head back down to the biochem room on level 3. Whew, okay. we're going back down into the, yeah. Wonder where the things are. Surely they'd just be waiting for us at the bottom of the lift. Because we were quick. As the elevator doors open, we peer out, looking to see if the creatures are still in the area. But it's all clear. When Amy looks to me, her eyes are clear and strong. Marcus wasn't entirely wrong, Amy says as we start walking back towards the hangar doors. About what? About how I am partially to blame for this. I don't want to be... I hope this isn't an angry one, but in my instance, I'd be like, well, yeah, you are kind of to blame for this. Marcus was just an IT guy who seems to not have known what was going on. I think to myself, Amy has had at least some knowledge. It's a highly advanced research facility, doing amazing but risky stuff. So yeah, you're partially to blame by just working here, but I can understand the dedication. Exactly, that's exactly what I was thinking. She closes her eyes and presses on her temples as I say this. Now that we have a moment, can you at least tell me a bit more about what is going on here? Are you familiar with the Large Hadron Collider over in Switzerland? I heard the phrase, but that's about it. It's a powerful particle accelerator. Right now they're using it to try and create what's called dark matter. It's theorized that this dark matter actually makes up the majority of the universe, but parts of the universe very different from ours. My guess is that people at the LHC will probably create their first dark matter particle in about 2018 or 2090. That hasn't happened yet, has it? Oh, it does, and we don't know about it, because they keep it from us, man. They're keeping it from us. Here in this facility, we were able to create one almost 10 years ago. It was the key to our research. What does this matter do? We use dark matter to assist with instantaneous transfer of a subject, but we have yet to perfect it or understand why it works. So you're saying it lets you access different dimensions? That's the theory. During the point-to-point transfer, the subjects are gone for about 3 to 6 seconds. There's no way to see or measure their presence, but they exist somewhere. From what we can tell, they exist in a kind of void. What is that place like? That's what I want to know. We don't know. There may be an infinite number of voids or spaces. Some of them appear to just be nothingness, a vacuum, or exotic matter. We're talking about places that we can only measure with instruments. What does that mean? Do you know what these places look like? No. It means in order to describe it to you, you'd have to be a mathematician, and I'd have to walk you through reams of data and equations. So even though we can describe them, we're still a long way from figuring out what these places look like. Sorry I asked, I say, feeling my mind starting to bend inward again. As we continue to walk between the silos, we walk past the area where we left Marcus's body. I barely even glance at his body, still unable to believe that I was responsible for killing him. Excuse me. I also don't want to look at the additional damage the monsters cause. A pool of blood and mangled clothes are all I see through the corner of my eye. I realise that we are walking very close together between the silos, perhaps trying to create the illusion of safety. We reach the exit connecting to the hangar doors, where Dennis hopefully still is. My guts clench and my heart hammers in my chest as we open the door and walk through. I lift the rifle, but at first it seems that there is nothing waiting for us, and that's when I see the glowing, hulking shape to my left, closing in fast. Ooh, this is new. Is it? Yeah, I think this is new. This is the hangar door. The creature is about 10 feet away and coming in quickly, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I drop to the ground, make myself a smaller target, and raise the rifle. I'm not sure if I should just unload on the bastard, or try to be choosy with my shots and weaken it, or at least slow it down. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh. Okay, so it's accuracy, or like, just, like, basically, if I take less shots with shoot to kill, I might miss him. If I take more, I won't kill him, but I might weaken him. I'm going for the kill. The beast is less than a foot away from me when I start firing rapidly. I'm not sure which is louder, the gunshot or the high-pitched screeching as the creature staggers. With that, it seems to turn and jerk away, parts of it appearing and disappearing every few feet. It moves down the hall and out of sight. Apparently even several rounds of bullets are only enough to slow these things down. I look quickly around for others, but there is only Amy. She looks at where the monster went with wide eyes. Her face is pale, and I wonder if, like me, she is able to feel her mind trying to retreat. Oh, okay, so it's just like, oh, you freaking out. But we need to get moving. Come on, let's find Dennis and get through these hangar doors. Amy glances at her watch and nods. We're already down to 6 minutes. We turn towards the hangar doors, and I'm a little disgusted with myself because the bloody scene that so shocked me before now seems mild. Amy goes to work on the computer console on the side of the doors. She starts punching in keys before saying, "This is going to take some time." I thought you already unlocked it. I did, but for this door there's still security permissions I need to hack. Marcus would have known how to do this. Oh my god. She trails off, and I decide to let her work. Suddenly something slams into me. I feel my feet leave the floor and I am literally thrown across the concrete. I look up in time to see one of those creatures. It's apparently in no hurry to attack me again. Focusing on Amy instead. She's not armed. I need to come up with a plan to get this thing away from her so she can focus on getting the door open. It raises one of its flickering appendages, making me certain that part of its makeup is pure light and energy. I could easily take a shot with my rifle, but my mind again goes to how much remaining ammo I have. The only other thing I can think of is to get it to chase me and lead it away from this room. Somewhere. Oh, I think distract is the best way. I don't think shooting these things is really doing anything. We're risking ourselves massively here. Hey! Right here! Come and get me! I'm the one that shot your buddy! It turns to me, and I'm again faced with staring at something that has no business in this world. In this reality. Its body gives off a sort of glow around the central part. A bulbous core that is branched off into 2 humps. Very much like a spider. Again I sense that this visual information is not accurate, but it's the best my simple mind can do to make sense of this impossible creature. It starts lurching towards me, and lets out a shriek of agony that makes my ears feel like they'll explode. Now that I'm sure it's coming after me, I take off running and head into another hallway we haven't been down. I find myself in an industrial looking area, and I'm pleased to find that the monster has followed me through. Oh, here we go, this is going to be dicey. Oh, we've got to try and lose him, and then get back when the door's open. Oh, the room seems to be an assortment of old pipes and tanks. I assume some of them run further down into the other areas of the facility. With the creature on my tail, I dash into the maze of metal, hoping to lose it. It's definitely having a harder time squeezing through than I am, and that slows it down. Of course the room's not a cage of any kind. This thing is still heading towards me, shredding through the pipes as it rages. I notice that sometimes it is breaking the steel girders, but other times it seems like it's somehow merging or changing them. Pipes that were separate are now connected together in a way that makes my head hurt. I finally get a good amount of distance between myself and the creature. I think it's lost my trail. I need to get back to those hangar doors, and there's not much time left before they close shut. But if I make a sound, that creature could be on my heels again. Now it's a case of hide and escape quietly, or run as fast as you can. You've got to go quiet. I know there's not a lot of time, but we have to go quiet. I take care to stay silent, twisting myself through some more pipes and making my way back towards the door I entered through. The creature doesn't seem to pick up on this. I see it's glowing back as I come round. It lets out a static scream that makes my insides feel like jelly. But I don't even look back. I slide quietly through the rusted obstacle course and tiptoe back toward the hangar doors. Get in! That was definitely the right call. Because if he ran, we'd have made it, but he would have been chasing us again. Now he doesn't know that we're there, and we're all good. Hopefully. I burst back into the large room and see Amy still working on the computer terminal by the hangar doors. You okay? I can clearly see her battling for control of her faculties. Steel determination wins out and she gives me a grim nod. Any sign of where Dennis went? Oh, any sign of where Dennis went, I ask, hoping she hasn't noticed his body somewhere. No. It's then that I realise that I have no idea how many rounds I have remaining in my rifle. This isn't a model I'm familiar with. Outside of some deer hunting, I'm not much of an expert on firearms. Still, I'm able to locate the chamber easily and see that there are 4 rounds left. Not great, but it could be worse. It could be worse because we could have used up more already. How are we on time? 2 minutes. I'm going as fast as I can. Amy does her best to focus on the keyboard, but there is still no sign of Dennis. Before I have time to look around, a screeching sound erupts from the other end of the room. I bring the rifle up in a shooter's stance and turn around. With the hangar doors right behind me, no signs of Dennis, and a closing window of time, I have to be confident. Yet when two monsters come around the corner, my body wants to shut down. The appendages seem to jump in time and space, reaching out for a split second, independent of the body, and then disappearing back to where they came from. It turns and screeches at me, its glowing tentacles snaking out of its body. My knees tremble uncontrollably. Behind me, Amy shrieks. I say, behind me! I feel myself losing control, my mind sliding into the abyss of insanity. I pull myself back from the brink. I've got to stay in control. Why would you turn away? Shoot, I think at this point, we can't not shoot. We've got to. I step away from Amy and the hangar doors and towards the monster, ready to defend her. I ready my rifle, but the creature wastes no time. It makes that jerky motion towards me, and there's a sharp pain in my chest as it collides with me. Or through me, it's hard to tell. My instinct is to try to grapple or hold this thing down, but then I realise I don't even know if that will work. It's like made of light and energy. Can you even grab it? Try to get away. I figure I'd rather not try to learn more about the physical nature of this thing right now. I tuck and roll away from it, then stand up to face it. With a scream of defiance, I raise the rifle and put a round in its core. The shot lands dead centre, and the light inside of it flickers almost violently. It falls back against the wall, issuing a hiss of its telltale static noise. It then jerks away and retreats, at least for now. Another terror appears as if out of nowhere, screaming at me with its high-pitched whine. It bounds forward, charging in its strange, spastic way. I aim the rifle, intending to take this one in the core too. I take several shots, but it's still coming at me. As it slams into me, I realise that I only have one bullet left. On contact, the wind is knocked out of my lungs and the back of my head strikes the floor. But neither of these things is as alarming as the fact that the beast is on top of me. Its exterior is like a seashell that has been pounded by the surf. Its exterior is like a seashell that has been pounded by the surf for so long that it has lost all edges and ridges. But the grip it tries to capture me with is pure violence. I feel those light-soaked appendages start to wrap around me. I raise my rifle knowing I still only have one shot left. The weight of the monster is erratic. One moment I feel weightless, another I feel like I'm going to be crushed. I push upwards with the rifle to aim, but it is overpowering me. I'm not sure I'd be able to get an effective shot off. I see the core of its body, a spider-like shape connected to the rest of it by a thin white strings of tissue. I know I'll be dead within seconds unless I can manage a shot, but I don't know where to aim. This thing has already survived for so long. You got to... It's always the centre, the core. You shot the other thing, you shot the core, so shoot the centre. You shoot the tentacles. Come on. The creature is seconds away from tearing into my shoulder. I have to stop it now. I grunt as I try to angle the rifle in the direction of the beast's formless core. The appendages begin tugging down on the barrel, and it's at that moment I pull the trigger, unleashing my final shot. Thank God I saved this bullet earlier. Yes! Thank God I saved this bullet earlier. When we didn't shoot in the lift. Yeah. The shot aggravates it enough to win me some breathing room. I save my shoulder, but this thing's still alive and kicking. But then I see the creature extend its tentacles in a violent whip-like motion away from me while it makes that static screeching sound. The creature disappears into thin air and reappears a few feet away from me, retreating. With a shudder and a cry of desperation, I get to my feet just in time to see the monster head in the direction of the biochem room. Amy looks over at me from her terminal at the hangar doors, looking petrified. I manage to help myself up when I see another figure nearing us, but to my relief, I realise it's a human figure, Dennis, with a gun. You okay, boss? But his eyes aren't on me. They're looking to the creature, trying to understand exactly what he has just seen. About 50 minutes ago, I heard the door to the maintenance room unlock, Dennis says, pointing to the room I tried to bust my way into earlier. Ah, when I did the override up in the command center, it unlocked all small doors down here, including that maintenance room. I went back there and hid. And while I was waiting for you to come back, I found a massive trunk. There were a few guns in it, so I grabbed this one. Patting his shotgun. He's patting his shotgun. Fair play, mate. I'm glad you're safe, Dennis. Thanks, boss. Me too. Great. Now, how is it? Oh. Great. How is that door coming along, Amy? She makes a final few key presses and says, "Done." The door opens with the noise of hydraulics and a whoosh of air. Dennis, Amy, and I climb up and head through the doors, moving on nothing more than adrenaline. I see her look longingly at the maintenance room Dennis took the shotgun from. "You get into the hangar. I'll get some more firepower." Satisfied with the plan, Amy heads through the door. We scramble inside, finally inside the hangar. Dennis approaches from behind, holding several guns and looking like a kid who grabbed an armful of Halloween candy. Amy reaches out for a 9mm with one hand. Dennis turns to me and holds out a shotgun and a handgun for me to choose. Both look deadly. The shotgun looks more powerful, but the handgun will probably be more precise. It doesn't tell you how much ammo you have for either. Put it this way. You're in more trouble if those things are closer to you, and the shotgun's better for if they're closer to you. I think the handgun. We managed to survive with the handgun we had before. Was it a handgun or was it an assault rifle? I think I'm going to go with the handgun. Yeah. I select the handgun and I'm comforted by the way it seems to fit perfectly in my shaky grip. There are more creatures coming. Why not just take both anyway? There are more creatures coming, and as many as a dozen. They are floating down the hall quickly, their tentacles slithering. The way their light seems to mingle together is almost beautiful. "Close the door!" She dashes to another terminal mounted on the inside of the hangar doors and tries desperately to close them. "It's not working! This terminal is disabled!" Dennis looks through the open doors, readying himself to shoot the first monster that nears us. "Should we try to slow a few down or just run for it?" he asks, his gun at the ready. I think let's run for it. I'm running for it. Good idea. With that, we turn around and sprint out onto the hangar floor. See, I think that was the right call to not waste ammo again. It's all about not wasting ammo. It's like playing Resident Evil. You don't waste your ammo. So this is the hangar. Look at this. The room is so enormous, so large that to call it a room seems silly. A large concrete floor stretches out below an expansive lofted ceiling. The area is mostly empty except for one side which has rows and rows of metal barrels. Back on the far wall is a lit area that seems to expose more rooms, labs and machinery. Also in the rear of the hangar I can see some kind of chamber or control centre. Dennis and I follow Amy across the hangar floor. Behind us a series of rough slithering sounds tells us that the creatures have made their way into the hangar. From somewhere up ahead a loud buzzing noise sounds out. It reminds me of the slight buzzing noise I'd heard in the forest, the noise that got me into all this trouble in the first place. I look ahead and see that in the far back of the hangar a bright red light is flashing. There is a small hatch or door below the light. The hatch is open and I can see a shape inside it. I can barely make out the figure of a man standing there, holding an industrial microphone, and as soon as I can see him, I hear this huge amplified voice. It blares down over an intercom and he sounds pissed. "I don't know who the hell you are, but this is a government facility on lockdown, and there are protocols to... Shit!" I assume the curse coincides with the exact moment he sees the creatures. They are making their way through the hangar doors. There are maybe 20 feet between us and the creatures. Acting instinctively, firing twice as the handgun comes alive in my hand. One shot goes into the core of one monster, causing it to jerk backwards. Another shot slows down another. The accuracy I get with the 9mm is amazing. Yeah, it is. Amy and Dennis take the cue and start firing as well. The floor becomes littered with a swirling white fluid from the wounded creatures' bodies. But they are not slowing down. The alarm keeps shrieking behind us, and when I turn to see if anything has changed back there, I trip over my feet. I hit the ground hard and in an almost comic-like fashion slide several feet across the floor. From the ground I see that we have managed to turn back 4 of them, but I also see that my estimate of a dozen is off. There are at least 20 of them. Their sick dim light sinister and gloomy. Their appendages seem to bind together as they come forward. My only hope of survival is that the man in the far doorway has somehow shut the hangar doors. His voice comes blaring over the intercom again, broken by the booming noise of the gunfire that we are laying down. "Run here towards the isolation chamber." I'm not sure how much time we have. I realise that I can sprint ahead of Amy and Dennis, or I can hang back and give them cover. I'm covering them. No, they're making it. I am covering. Go inside where that guy is, I say. I'll make sure we don't have any of those things right on our tails. I'll hold them back for a while. I know it sounds macho, but I also feel like it's the right thing to do. I have to at least try to give us some kind of a chance for escape. So as Dennis and Amy ran through the doors, I blasted the next thing that I see moving. All I get for my troubles is that static-like hiss and a pitched whistling noise. I'm able to beat them back a bit, forcing them to scatter. Each flicker of light is a small victory if nothing else. I'm buying Amy and Dennis time. See, this is when it would be good to have the shotgun. The shotgun means they would have been closer, but we would have been able to disperse them better. When I'm certain there is nothing more I can do, I turn and run. I hustle quickly, catching up to Amy and Dennis, who stop and turn to provide me with cover fire. There! Amy says, pointing to the small door where the man was standing earlier. The swarm is less than 15 feet away now, so furious that they are pushing through one another to get to her. I raise the handgun and fire, taking my time to aim. I hit one in the spider-like part of its body. I fire again, this time taking one in the core. I place 2 more rounds into this creature, eventually causing it to move backwards. We are in the middle of the hangar floor now, with the isolation chamber ahead and the monsters behind. Beside me, Dennis also fires. The kick of the gun jolts him back, probably a result of him being weakened from the blood loss. His shot lands true though, causing a jerking and stumble and a flickering of its lights. We're almost in, Amy yells as we get close to the door. We hope will save us. Tell Dennis and Amy to go in first or dash inside. See, if I had the shotgun, I'd be like, you guys go in first. But okay. Get inside, I tell Amy and Dennis, motioning for them to get moving with my gun. I open the door and give Dennis a push forward. He resists, more eager to try taking down another one of those beasts before he makes it to safety, but he eventually gives in. I wait a beat to make sure Amy is inside too. I fire off a few rounds on the creatures that are still headed for us, hoping to slow them down. When Amy and Dennis clear the door, I nearly dash inside, but then feel something hot seep into my back. Roger! The pain is in my back. It's so immense that I barely notice the fact that I'm being lifted from the floor. Oh no! I look down and see that one of those creatures is using its floating arms to grab me by my waist. Its tentacles wrapping around me. It lifts me into the air as if it's presenting me as a trophy to its friends. I try to focus, attempting to angle my arm in a way that will allow me to take aim of my handgun and place a bullet in its body. But it is shaking me violently and its body parts are appearing and disappearing in a way that makes no sense. Another oddity of its structure. I can literally do nothing more than hang there like a rag doll, hoping to be saved. As it continues to hoist me up, screeching its approval, Dennis comes back out of the room and fires off a shot. The bullet catches the monster on the underside of its core, sending it backwards and causing it to freeze for a moment. It releases me and I hit the ground, dropping my gun and again finding myself unable to breathe. I feel slightly dizzy, but that fades when I see Dennis is still standing outside of the door. He's firing into the beast like a madman and doesn't see the one to his left coming in along the edge of the wall. Oh, see, like, this is... Oh! This is like, if I push him out of the way, I am for real dead. Aren't I? I'm for real dead. I don't think, if we push him out of the way, I genuinely don't think there's a way that we'll end up alive. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Hearing my voice, he turns to look directly at me, but this is the opposite of what I need him to do. Behind him, the creature glides up, shaking back and forth in space as it moves. By the time Dennis turns and sees the creature coming, it has already drawn several of its appendages back to strike. No! Dennis tries to raise his gun, but it's knocked away by one of the tentacles. Oh crap. A second tentacle strikes and Dennis is spun around and thrown off balance by the attack. Dennis catches himself before falling. A third tentacle wraps around Dennis's forearm and I can see it squeeze, tightening instantly. The tip of the appendage passes clean through his hand, its blood-soaked tip poking out through his palm. Dennis's face grimaces with pain as he tries to wrench his arm free, but the creature's tentacle has his hand speared like a nail through wood. In a moment of dark clarity, I realise that I can free him with a clean shot at the monster's tentacle, but it will likely mean blowing Dennis's hand off. Dennis! I yell over the creature's high-pitched static sound. Can you get free? I have a shot. Maybe. No! Dennis grasps at the creature, tosses him around by his hand like a puppet. Don't shoot. I can get free. Oh, man. Okay. This is it, man. I don't feel like I can wait. I can't tell if he's right, but the other monsters are starting to encircle him, and I need to act fast. It says you need to act fast. Oh, I don't know what to do. I genuinely don't know what to do. I feel like if we wait, he'll get done for anyway. I'm shooting his hand off. If I don't take the shot while I have it, they're going to kill him. In a last-ditch effort, I try getting a good shot on the monster, but there is none. I'll hurt Dennis even worse if I try. I take aim and fire a shot. The shot lands perfectly and results in a lot of blood and screams from both Dennis and the creature. Dennis's hand disappears into a spray of red, and the monster's appendages simply fades away. It literally seems to wink out of existence. The creature screeches while Dennis hits the floor, wailing in pain. The reality of what I have done sets in and nearly paralyses me. Get him! I'll cover you! Where the hell has she been the whole time? I nod, still reeling from the sight of what I have done to Dennis. I stumble out the door. Amy is true to her word. She fires off a few rounds into the approaching monsters as I make it to Dennis. I grab a hold of him with my good arm. I drag him backwards as fast as I can, nearly falling down in the process. When I reach the doorway, Amy reaches down and helps me drag his body the final few feet into the room. She manages to pull off another shot, and when I look to see what she has hit, I see another dozen or so of the monsters. Dennis is writhing in pain, and when he looks up to me, he is sneering. You crazy asshole! He shudders violently, sweat and tears coming down his pale face. Amy slams the door behind us. Finally, we are inside the room, hopefully safe within what looks to be an isolation chamber of sorts. Along the frame, a little electrical lock beeps as the door is secured. Oh my word. I feel so bad for Dennis. But I feel like if I hadn't have taken his hand and then waited, they would have either gotten me or gotten him. And we needed to get out of there. That was so difficult, man. That was so difficult. Oh, self-control. You and 51% of players shot to kill the creature instead of just weaken it. That's interesting. That's 50-50 there. You and 41% of players distracted the creature instead of shooting it. You and 57% of players, so over half, took the handgun and a judgment call. You and 50% players chose not to shoot, causing him to lose his hand. Disobeyed Dennis's wishes not to shoot. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so there we go. There's buried. So we have made it into an isolation chamber with someone else. There's a new person now, and we're gonna find out. I think this is the last chapter, chapter 5. So come back for chapter 5, and we'll see how this thing ends. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it, and I hope you are enjoying this game. As I say it numerous times. For anyone that actually watches me regularly, you're probably bored of hearing me say it. I love narrative, linear story. I love narrative, story-driven games, and this is just that perfectly. So yeah, I hope you are enjoying it, and thank you so much for watching. And if you did like this video, hit that like button for me, because it really does help me out. If you are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and check out some of the other videos I've got going on. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, have yourselves a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.